Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Cámara Peruana de Comercio Exterior. Welcome to our morning lectures. These are our usual English lectures that we have on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Today is Friday, January the 8th, the first week of January. I hope everyone is well, is healthy, is taking all the necessary precautions in case of going out. Okay, please remember that it's important to take care of ourselves. Good morning. How are you? Happy Friday to you too. Remember that the numbers of people getting sick is rising again because we are forgetting that we still need to take necessary precautions. Okay, especially if even though it's not proven yet, but especially if you have not gotten sick. Okay, so and even if, but especially if you still haven't gotten sick. Okay, I hope you have had a great week. And remember, if you go out, wear your masks, wash your hands regularly, put the alcohol in your hands, disinfect them, maintain your distance with people that you don't know. If when you come back home, clean your shoes, change your clothes, take a shower. Hopefully this will pass soon and things will go back to normal. Okay, so again, welcome to the lectures. The topic of today is at the hotel. Today we're going to basically read some conversations of things that you do in a hotel, right? Because the last class we were traveling still at the airport. Today we're going to read some expressions that we use when we check in, some expressions that we use when we check out, and when we go on a tour, things that we expressions and words that we use when we go on tours. Okay, if you don't know who I am, this is me, Carlos Martinez. I am an English instructor and speaking coach, former team leader at Pacifico University, and currently an EFL teacher at the Mate Purísima School in Miraflores. So let's begin. So the first, like I said, the last classes we were talking about at the airport. So this is once you arrive at your destination, you need to go to a hotel. You need to find a room. And this action is called booking a room. Making a reservation, setting a room apart for yourself or your family or whoever you're traveling with. Okay, so here we have a dialogue, an example of a dialogue. A person who is booking a room is calling to book a room because he's going to arrive at this place soon. So listen, and here we go. Thanks for calling Quality Inn. Maureen speaking. An inn is like a hotel, a motel, but it's basically because of the size. They're small. Hello, I'm interested in booking a room for September long weekend. For the September long weekend. I'm afraid we are totally booked for that weekend. This expression means that when you are totally booked, it means that you have no space. All your rooms are occupied. There is a convention in town, and we are the closest hotel to the convention center. Oh, I didn't realize. Well, what about the weekend after that? Okay, so now we're asking for the weekend after the long weekend. So Friday the 17th? Yes, Friday and Saturday. It looks like we have a few vacancies left. That means vacancy is that there's space, and left is that we need to remember that even though the word left is also like the opposite of right, it also means that you still have some, it's not completely occupied. We recommend that you make a reservation though. It's still considered peak season then. Okay, peak season is like what we call high and low season, right? The peak season is it's a synonym of high season. It's moments when you travel, or when a lot of people travel, when like normally on vacations, New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, summer vacations. It's peak season because a lot of people are traveling and booking hotels during these days. So it's like um, rooms and spaces fill out very quickly. Okay, do you have any rooms with two double beds? We're a family of four. Yes, all of our rooms have two double beds. The rate for that weekend is $129 a night. Okay, so the rate is the price. And well, normally when you book a hotel, it's normally per night, right? And normally it's like they say 3 days, 2 nights, right? Because when they refer to night is that you're going to sleep there. So if it's, for example, 3 days and 2 nights, that means you're going to sleep there 2 nights. And on the third day, you're going to leave before the evening. That's reasonable. Reasonable means that it's not bad, it's acceptable, it's common, maybe it even is actually good. Do you have cots? One of my daughters might bring a friend. A cot is like a small bed that you can open and close sometimes, you know. Um, Sometimes it can be referred to also the baby beds. But in this case, because she says that one of her daughters is going to bring a friend, or his daughter is going to bring a friend, then this refers to those beds that you can open and close, you know. I think here in Peru there used to be a company, I don't know if it still exists, that was used to be called Comodoy. Um, so it's one of those beds that you can open and close and just put it under the bed or put it in the closet when you're not using it. We do, but we also charge an extra $10 per person for any family with over 4 people. The cot is free. Okay, so that's an extra fee. So normally 4 people will pay the price of $129 a night, but a fifth person will have to pay an extra $10. Okay, and every person from that. Okay, but I'm not positive if she's coming. Can we pay when we arrive? That means they're saying that what we call in Peru, um, so well, in this case of products con entrega, right? You don't pay until you get there. Um, Once I mean, there are some prices that you need to cancel, but some things you can be paid when you check out. Yes, but we do require a $50 credit card deposit to hold the room. Okay, so a credit card deposit is like an advance that you give. Okay, in this case, it's a requirement, it's mandatory. You can cancel up to 5 days in advance and we will refund your deposit. Okay, so here it says that, for example, you cancel 5 days in advance, and if for some reason you don't, then you will be refunded. I mean, the money will give him back. Great. I'll call you right back. I have to find my husband's credit card. This was a woman. Okay. Oh, and just to let you know, our outdoor pool will be closed, but our indoor pool is open. Okay, this is an extra facility that the hotel gives you. In this case, the inn. Okay, good. So here are some expressions that the front desk receptionist might say. Okay, in this case, Enterprise Hotels, live speaking. How can I help you? This is how normally they answer when it's a phone call, basically. But no, if you're there, they'll just say, "Good morning, how are you? How can I help you?" Right? The "How can I help you" is still going to be there. The only thing that may disappear is the, the part where he says Lais or Carlos or Pedro speaking. This is only when you call on the phone. What date are you looking for? How long will you be staying? You know, the amount of days. How many adults will be in the room? I'm afraid we are booked that weekend, like we mentioned. Like if they say this, then there's no space. There are only a few vacancies left. We advise that you book in advance during peak season. We advise that you book in advance during peak season, okay? You make your reservation. Will 2 double beds be enough? Do you need more? I mean, more, I guess it's 2 double beds for 4 people. If it's not enough, then it's more than four. Do you want smoking or non-smoking rooms? This question is going to be made in some places. In Peru, it's not possible anymore. I mean, all rooms are non-smoking, although there are places that have balconies where it's like it could be considered like a smoking area, but normally all rooms in Peru are now non-smoking rooms. The dining room is open from 4 p.m. until 10 p.m. Okay, this is like the area in the hotel or the inn or the motel where you eat. We have an indoor swimming pool and sauna. We serve a continental breakfast. You know, this is a type of, we have American breakfast, continental breakfast. Basically, it has to do with, normally these two breakfasts consists of coffee, orange juice, a sandwich, sometimes scrambled eggs, you know, bacon. Cable television is included, but the movie channel is extra. Take exit 8 off the highway and you'll see us a few kilometers up on the left-hand side. Okay, so these are directions when you're going to the hotel. Normally, inns and motels are close to highways because they are easy I mean, they're made for travelers, for people who are just stopping because they're on their way to somewhere else. The rate I can give you is $99.54 with tax. Okay, remember we mentioned the last class. It's always important to ask for this information because in the United States well, basically in the United States, prices are given without tax normally. You have to verify that that taxes are included because normally they don't. For example, if you buy something, they'll say it's $1, but when you go to the cashier, you'll have to pay $1.10. Why? Because those 10 cents is the sales tax. In Peru, no. In Peru, normally prices already include tax. We require a credit card number for our deposit. Okay, this happens when you book a room, when you rent a car, when you book in an inn or a motel. They always ask for a deposit, a partial deposit using your credit card or just your credit card number, just in case. Very good. So this is when you book a room. You know, when you want to check in. Now, these are expressions that the guest make. The guest is the person who's going to stay in the room. I would like to make a reservation for next week. Okay, I would like to make, or I'd like to make a reservation. Both are possible. Remember that contractions are basically used more when we make informal conversations. Okay, is it necessary to book ahead? I mean, do I have to pay in advance? Of course, like I said before, normally this is necessary. Okay, to book ahead. Remember that I can follow, even though today's lecture is going to be basically an informative one, I still follow your questions and your comments. I follow them in Facebook and through the Zoom app. Okay, so if you have any questions, then I will be able to help you with those topics. Next, do you charge extra for 2 beds? It's always important to ask these questions when you go to a hotel because sometimes they charge you for everything. If you use certain channels on TV, for example, if you eat something from the refrigerator for the mini bar, many things are charged extra. Okay, so you need to ask what is included in the price. How much is it for the cot? Okay, for the small bed, as you read in the dialogue that we finished before, the price of the cot is included. Okay, so do you offer free breakfast? Sometimes they are. Sometimes some restaurants offer, some hotels offer free breakfast. Is there a restaurant in the hotel? Do the rooms have refrigerators or mini bars? Do you do group bookings? I mean, when you make reservations for big groups, conventions and stuff. Is there an outdoor pool? Do you have any cheaper rooms? Cheaper, less expensive. When is it considered off season? Okay, just like we have low season and high season, and we have synonyms like peak season will be the equivalent of high season, and low season will be the equivalent of off season. Okay, a moment in the calendar when very few people travel or book hotels, um, and normally prices go down. Okay, very good. Hopefully there are no questions so far. Again, like I said, today's class is basically going to be an informative one where I'm going to tell you basically templates of expressions like these, examples in dialogues, and some definitions. So let's continue. Now, checking out. Okay, now checking out is the opposite of checking in. Checking in is when you arrive at a place and you want to stay like before. And checking out is when you are leaving. Normally, checking out hours tend to be, for example, the following day before noon, normally. But every place has a different checking out time. So let's begin. Hi there, are you checking out now? Yes, sorry. I know we're a few minutes late. That's no problem. It's always really busy at checkout time anyway. Okay, so like I said, normally there is a checkout time. If you pass this time, you will have to pay an extra day, whether or not, for example, let's say checkout time is noon, and you for some reason check out at 12:30, you will have to pay the complete day. Um, Normally this happens a lot in hotels and motels, because they normally there's a space between the checkout and the check-in time for cleaning the room and stuff like that. So if you leave later, then they are not going to be able to rent that room. So they'll charge it to you if you leave later than the checkout time. So it's always important to verify what time is checkout. Oh, really? The last hostel we stayed in charged us for a late checkout, you see? Um, there's such thing as a late checkout, so just be careful with checkout times. The hotel isn't booked this week, so it's not a problem. So that is the reason why they're not charging him a late checkout, because nobody needs the room. How was everything? The room was great. The beds are really comfortable, and we weren't expecting our own fridge or our minibar. I'm glad you liked it. The kids were disappointed that the pool wasn't open this morning, though. Okay, I'm glad that I'm happy. Very good. Let's continue with the conversation. I apologize for that. We can't get a cleaner in any earlier than 10 a.m. That means that before 10, nobody's going to clean that pool. Well, we had a nice swim last night, anyhow. Would you be putting this on your credit card? Okay, so because remember that there's a credit card deposit. So they're asking him if he's going to cancel everything with the credit card, and he says no, that he'll pay cash. So that means that he's going to either um, ask for the refund of the money that was secured from the credit card, and he'll pay the rest in cash. Okay, so the total comes to $123.67, including tax. Again, remember, always verify the tax. I thought it was $115 even. That means without the cents. That's what they said yesterday when we checked in. Okay, the expression even means that without cents. For example, this is uneven because it's 123.67. Yes, but there is an extra room charge on your bill. Okay, there's another amount that's being added to his bill. Oh, I forgot. My husband ordered a plate of nachos. Sorry. Okay, so the food, you can order anything you want, but then you're going to have to pay for it at the end when you leave. No problem. So from $140, here's your change. The expression from 140 means that this was his total due, 123.67, and the woman gave him $140. Okay, here's your change. It's what is left after the charge of 123. It should be around 17, 16 something. Now I'll just need to ask you for your room keys, okay? So of course you have to return the keys, anything that was given to you when you entered. Sometimes the keys are physical keys, although nowadays modern hotels and inns, they give you like a credit card that's going to be the way to opening your room or locking the door. And you get as many cards as you need. I mean, if there are four people in the room, sometimes you get four cards, or sometimes there's a maximum amount of cards. Normally it's like sometimes two, and you pay extra for any other amount of keys that you need. Okay, but you always have to give them back when you leave. If you don't, there it will be a charge for that. Okay, so be careful with that. So remember, you can ask for extra keys, but normally there's an extra charge for that. So here we have expressions when you check in. For example, what name is the reservation under? I mean, who made the reservation? For example, if I make the reservation, then I would say, oh, it's under the name Carlos Martinez. Or maybe if my brother or a friend of mine made the reservation, then it will be under his or her name. Okay. How long will you be staying? Are you planning on checking out tomorrow? You decide, no, I'll check out in a couple of days. Normally, when you say, for example, if they ask me, are you planning on checking out tomorrow? And I say yes, normally they will call me an hour or two before to remind me of my checkout. If not, then they won't remind me. I'm afraid you can't check in until after 4 p.m. Okay, so nobody enters the room before 4 p.m. What type of vehicle are you driving? This is in case there's a parking lot for the roof, hotel, motel. Do you know the license plate number of your vehicle? Okay. Normally license plates numbers have letters and numbers here in Peru, especially. Complimentary breakfast is served in the lobby between 8 and 10 a.m. Okay, it's like a buffet. Okay, so between 8 in the morning and 10 in the morning, there will be food. I'll give you two room keys. Okay, so you see that this is what I was talking about before. In this case, they only give you two. If you want more, then you'll have to pay. But they will hotels will normally will give you an extra key, but of course with a charge. Their dining room is on the main floor at the end of the hall. Okay, main floor or ground floor. The weight room and sauna are on the top floor. Weight room or gym. Okay, the weight room or gym. Top floor means the last floor. Just call the front desk if you need any extra towels or pillows. Okay. Normally this is how it happens. Normally hotels, they'll give you extra towels, extra pillows, but you need to ask for them. If you don't, then they won't give them. And sometimes they charge for that. Sometimes just don't take the towels. Some people do that. Now the guest will say expressions like, we have a reservation on the Jill McMahon. Okay, so Jill McMahon was the person who made the reservation. She was the one who called and she was the one who gave the credit card. Do you have any vacancies? Is there space? Is the hotel booked or can we get a room for tonight? When they say booked, that means is it full? Is it complete? Is there, I mean, how do we get to a room from here? Okay, so you want to know, you are in the front desk in the reception, how you reach your destination. Sometimes you need to go out of the building, or you need to take the elevator, you need to take the stairs, or it depends. You ask for directions to your room. Is it okay to park out front? Because like I mentioned, some hotels have a parking lot or a parking area. Some do not. What time is the pool open until? I mean, they asking when does it close? What time is breakfast served at? Is it too early to check in? Some places don't allow check-ins until afternoon or after 1 or after 2, like I said. If checkout is at noon, then normally check-ins should be around 2 because during this time is when they clean the rooms. Can we get a wake-up call? This is very common. Normally, whenever I have stayed in a hotel, I always tell them to call me around 6 in the morning or 7, whenever I need to do things. Um, Although nowadays with the cell phones and the alarms that you have, they have become uncommon, but still, sometimes people like the hotel to call you up and let you know that you have to do things. And when is checkout time? Okay, again, it's important to ask when checkout time is, because if you pass the time, then you won't be able to, then you'll have to pay. You have to pay. Okay, so these are expressions that we can use when we check in. Okay, these are expressions that we can use when we check in. And just like we have expressions for check-in, we have expressions for checking out. Are you ready to check out? What room were you in? How was your stay? Was everything satisfactory? Will you be putting this on your credit card? And how will you be paying for this? Okay, so the first expressions were asking you first if you're leaving or not. You can say no, not yet, or no, I won't be checking out, for example, in the first question. What room were you in? Normally, everybody knows their room by heart. Okay, so how was your stay? Try to be polite, but if you had problems, always tell them, because sometimes hotels can give complimentary discounts or complimentary services. For example, if for some reason your stay was bad because there were maybe something was dirty or it was too noisy, or yeah, like, well, if service wasn't good, then you have to say what was bad. For example, the food was cold, the sheets were dirty, the bathroom was not working, there was no hot water. You have to tell them what the problem was, okay? And why is this important? Because, like I said, hotels, like any public service, don't want to lose clients. So they want you to come back as soon as possible. So if something was not satisfactory and you report it, sometimes you will get complimentary things. Like, for example, they won't charge you for any extra things that you had, or they will give you a discount for another time. Okay, so you always should tell them what was wrong. Okay, it's always good to be honest. Will you be putting on this on your credit card? That means because, like I said, normally you give a deposit with your credit card to separate or to book the other rooms. So the rest you can decide if you're going to pay it with credit card or if you're going to pay it with cash. Would you like to speak to the hotel manager on duty? I mean, because on duty means the person who's in charge in that moment. I will just need your room keys, please. Or I'll just need your room keys, please. I'll is the contraction of I will. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. Have a safe trip home. Okay, and then we also have to. Well, that actually, there in other countries, there that some such things don't exist. But it will be like a complaint book. I don't know exactly what the name is, but as a matter of fact, such document for, I mean, I think these things only exist in Peru. You can complain. I mean, people. I think more damage is done through social media than that complaint book, because um, I've never seen it really be fulfill its purpose. But yeah, like I said, such things, at least I've never seen it when I've traveled. Mhm. But I guess I'll get to will be called a complaint book, because it's basically for complaints. And the guest, we are checking out of room 401. Okay, this is the room you were at. Sorry, we're a bit late for checking out. I'm afraid we overslept or we slept in. Remember, both mean the same. Okay, to oversleep or to sleep in means that you slept more than you normally do. We really enjoyed our stay. We have a few complaints. We'll be back next time we're in town. Okay, so this is the complaints, things that you're not happy with. Okay, I'm gonna figure out if such documents do exist in other countries. I'm not sure. Okay, and the last topic is about tours. Okay, so this is a conversation between your tour guide and a tourist. So it's about a 3-minute ride up to the top of the mountain. As we pass the two towers, the gondola may sway a little. Sway means, to move from left to right, to sway. Okay, this thing is safe, right? Yes, you don't have anything to worry about. We do about 100 trips a day up the mountain, and these tours have been going on for over 10 years without any accidents. Keep your eyes open for wildlife as we ascend. It isn't uncommon to see deer and even bears. It reminds me of that when you go to Machu Picchu and you leave Aguascalientes and the bus goes like in a circle and you can see the other buses going down. So it's like a jungle. You go up the mountain. What's the mountain on the left called? That's Mount Karen, and to the right of that, with the three small points, is Mount Brown. Now, if you look up straight ahead, you should be able to see a large eagle's nest. Does everyone see it there? Are there any baby birds? That's a good question. I haven't seen any yet, but we usually see them around this time of year. Okay, so these are expressions that a tour guide normally tells you everything that's happening around your surroundings. They'll tell you, okay, well, now we're going down this street. On your left, you can see this. On your right, you can see this. Normally, tourists ask them, for example, if there's anything special. What's that called? Or what is that? And the tour guide normally gives or answers all the questions, right? Okay. What's that lake down there to the right of the green meadow? A meadow is like a big area of grass. I'm glad you asked. That's John Lake. It's actually a man-made pond that was built as part of a conservation effort over 20 years ago. During the 70s, there was a lot of clear cutting of forest in the area, and much of the wildlife was lost. Since John Lake was built, ducks, swans, and geese have returned to the area. Okay, so again, the question, what is that? And here's the answer. I'm glad you asked. Okay, for the tour guide, this it's important to tell. And here he says that it's a man-made. A pond is like a small lagoon, a small lake, and that was built as part of a conservation effort over 20 years ago during the 70s. The 70s means all the years that go from 1970 up to 1979. There was a lot of clear cutting of forest. That means that the trees had disappeared to be used for lumber, to make paper or furniture. And much of the wildlife, the animals, was lost. Okay, since the lake was built, ducks, swans, and geese. A duck is, like Donald Duck. Swan are these beautiful white birds, like the story of the ugly duckling. Okay, with the long necks. There are also black ones, but they're normally white, very beautiful. And geese is like a duck but bigger. Is this the highest mountain in this region? No, actually, Mount Heather, which you will be able to see in just a minute or so, has the highest peak. But this is the highest mountain for recreational purposes like skiing and guided tours. Can you ski throughout the year? That means all the year? No, it warms up enough to actually suntan up there in the summer. Oh, look everyone, there are two deer feeding in the clearing right below us. Thanks, that should be a great photo. Okay, so now they're asking him about him or her about the mountains, the name, what you can do there. Here, the guide says that Mount Heather, um, is the highest mountain there, the highest peak, but not the highest one for recreational purposes, for entertainment, like skiing or tours. Can you ski throughout the years? This means through the whole year, okay, the 365 days. And then he or she says that actually people can go up there in suntan. So that means that there are moments when it's so hot that there is no snow, so you can actually go and get a tan, like me. Okay, so AN says thank you. It should be a great photo. Very good. Now we have expressions. For example, the Torah way would say, in front of you is, on your right you will see, on your left you will see, up ahead, that means that going down you're going to see something. On your left you will see. As we turn the corner here, you will see, turn the corner. In the distance, far away, maybe you will never get close, but in the distance, if you look up, you will notice. If you look down, you will notice. Off to the north, look to the east, and to your west. Okay, normally when they use expressions like north, south, east, or west, that means that there is something in that direction. We're not going to pass really close, but you should be able to see it, at least in the distance, like this expression here. In a few minutes, we'll be passing. We are now coming up to, we're getting close. As you will see, so we haven't seen it yet, but you will see it. You may have noticed, taking a good look at, I would like to point out, when you want to clarify something, keep your eyes open for, that means to pay attention to, right? Keep your eyes open. Good. And the tourist, is that the whatever you were talking about? Are we going to pass the, and you ask, for example, are you going to pass the National Stadium? Are we going to pass the government palace, etc.? Are we going to see any, I don't know, something you would like to see? And that you might see. Of course, if you're traveling in Lima, you're not going to say, we're going to see any elephants, because of course you won't. Your questions need to make sense. Is it on the right or on the left? I don't see it. Can you point it out again? Can you tell me where it is? Did I miss it? Because you haven't seen it. Will we see it on the way back? You want to have the opportunity of seeing it. Very good. And now some vocabulary. For example, famous tourist attractions. There are many types of museums: local history museum, town museums, where there are displays of objects found in the local area which are important to the local area. I know, for example, last year with the school we went to, no, not last year, to 2019, to Ahuaca y Miraflores, and there's a local museum in that location museum, and they show things that are found in that Huaca, this religious ceremonial place. Or also here in Lima, when you go to Pachacamac, there's also a local history museum about the area, okay? The art galleries, where you can see paintings, photographs, and sculptures, as also exhibitions, okay? There are many art galleries in Lima, small ones, big ones. Here in Barranco, there's the one with photographer, what was his name? And there are also some in Lima, in downtown Lima, okay? You can see art galleries. For example, in this case, London or any big city has a National History Museum. In Peru, in Lima, we also have the National History Museum. This is in Javier Prado Avenue, if I'm not mistaken. A museum where you can see everything related to Earth and to the history and development of the Earth, such as dinosaurs, skeletons, fossils, etc. Science museums, there are many science museums here in Lima too, but a science museum is a museum where you can see scientific and technological developments and discoveries. Often these museums have interactive displays, okay? So the difference between a natural history museum and a science museum. And there are places like, for example, if you've ever gone to New York, in this case London, we have the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. Well, here are some examples for London, right? The London Dungeons, Here in Lima, we have something similar, like in the Real Plaza, the Real Plaza, the what's his name, the Real Felipe, the Real Felipe in Callao. Okay, where you can see dungeons. You know, where a dungeon is a place where people were kept prisoners. Okay, and many. I mean, every city has every major city. Here, I'm using London as an example, but every major city has these historical places. Normally, the tour guide will tell you. Normally, you can choose the tour what you would like to see. For example, if you want to see these things to Real Felipe, then you're also going to be taken to the naval area, to the promenade and stuff like that are close. Normally, at least in Lima, we visit churches and cathedrals. Okay, other attractions include places of interest. For example, if you go to Italy, you're going to see the Roman ruins. If you come here to Peru, they're going to take you to Machu Picchu to see the ruins there. Or I mentioned Pachacamac before, where you can see ruins of old places, parks, gardens, and stately homes. Here in Lima, at least in Lima, there are a few stately homes. I remember there used to be a big one in Miraflores in Arequipa Avenue. Now there's a store called Compu Palace, something like that. But there used to be a big house. It was an art gallery. I don't remember the name, but it had a family name. Um, and it was owned by these aristocrats, Peruvian aristocrats, and it was very beautiful. I don't know why they tore it down and they turned it into that store where they sell computers. Um, but yes, okay. There are many places here, and also in Arequipa Avenue, there's like a castle where now there's a museum for the Air Force. Okay, so there are many of these places still around in Lima still. Palaces, well, in Peru, in Lima at least, there are some palaces, but not like there are in Europe. For example, if you go to Chancay, you find the palace there, but it was made by an aristocrat family that decided that they wanted to have a palace like in Europe, but not the actual palaces like they were. It's for royalty, right? Things to do. Then we have exhibitions, festivals, fairs. A fair is like a local place where we have stalls. Different, like for example, in Barranco is an interesting fair in Union Avenue where you can see like handicrafts and stuff like that. You can go to see live music and concerts or gigs. A gig is like a small concert given by bands. You have operas, plays, ballets, fun fair. Now with the pandemic and quarantine, there aren't any fun fairs, but there was a famous one. It's very old, called Playland Park, and then I used to remember there used to be a fun fair in Feria del Hogar many years ago. Okay, here in Chorrillos there are some fairs. In La Granja Villa, there's also a fun fair. Where you can go. These games and rides that you can visit. Okay. And finally, local attractions. Again, every place, for example, I live in Chorrillos, and there's a promenade, where you can walk around and you see the water. It's not exactly next to the water, but it's the closest you can get, at least here in Chorrillos. Um, but still, if you want to get closer, there's another promenade down near the beach where you can walk exactly next to the water. There's a lighthouse. We have the lighthouse in Miraflores that was built by the same person who built the Eiffel Tower. Many people do not know that. And the harbor. For example, here in Lima, I live in Chorrillos. There's a small pier where the fishermen work. Or you can go to Callao and also see the harbor there. And finally, information for tourist visitors. For example, opening hours, closing hours, for restaurants, for hotels, what time they start receiving people. You can also ask if there's an entrance fee or an admissions cost. I mean, some places it's free to enter. Some places you don't have to pay. For example, if you ever go to New York, there are many museums that just receive a collaboration for the admission, whatever you can give them. For many attractions, there's a car park nearby, like I said, a place where you can put your cars. Sometimes you have to pay a fee, sometimes you don't have to pay a fee. Depends on how long you're going to be there. If, for example, if you have a ticket of that you have bought something, you won't have to pay the fee, etc. Then we have gift shops to buy souvenirs, refreshments to buy something to drink or eat, and many tourist attractions arrange tours. Like, for example, if you go down to the main plaza in downtown Lima, there are tours that will take you to from there to Larcomar, to Cerro San Cristobal, to Pachacamac, and all around Lima. Okay, so and you'll receive information in brochures, leaflets, posters, and flyers. Okay. So, like I said, today was going to be a very informative one lecture. The next class we're going to finish with this topic, and we might review some things that we have said today, so we can see if you can remember some of the words and expressions that we used today. Okay, this is the end of today's lecture. Today, like I said, on Monday we'll finish with this topic, and we'll like I normally do. I will ask you some questions and practice a little bit, matching expressions and matching definitions. Okay, so I hope you, I mean, this lecture has been productive. Maybe hopefully when you travel you will be able to use some of the expressions that I mentioned here. Remember that these are templates, you have to accommodate them accordingly to your situation. And again, we're going to finish with this topic on Monday. So if there are no more questions, I want to thank you for attending our lectures here at the Cámara Exterior. Please have a great weekend, stay safe, and remember, please, COVID is still out there. Be careful. Think about your loved ones if you go out, and take all the necessary precautions. Here is my personal information, my email, cjmflores@gmail.com. My WhatsApp, you can contact me through WhatsApp, 947-390-436, or you can look me up in LinkedIn with my username, cjmflores27. Okay. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for attending these lectures. And like I said, I will see you on Monday to finish this topic. Have a great weekend. God bless, and thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for your participation. Thank you very much.